I have learned a lot of lessons about cash flow. I've not paid attention to cash flow. I've only paid attention to cash flow. And I think I'm well qualified to speak on this subject at this point in time. So the truth about cash flow is your spreadsheet isn't always true. The property that looks like it's going to make you a ton of money, even though it's not in so nice of an area, it's kind of rough. Things are going to go great provided that you don't have all these huge expenses. Those are rough a lot of the times. The truth is, those probably aren't going to cash flow as well as you thought they were. I say this from experience. I've bought a lot of houses, I've bought a lot of multifamily units that look phenomenal on a spreadsheet. I said, you know what, the spreadsheet looks great. I'm going to make so much money here. The truth is, what looks easy and looks almost guaranteed is rarely true. So what happens is when you buy these not so nice properties in not so nice areas, people aren't so nice to them and your maintenance costs go through the roof. Your capital expense is probably pretty high too because they're older properties and they need more things like a new roof, new windows, new HVAC. I know it looked okay during the inspection, but over time it catches up with you. Now I'm not talking about 80s, 70s, talking about properties older than that in a lot of cases. And even on that, you have to pay attention to the inspection report and make sure everything's great. But the truth about cash flow is it's not as easy to get as you might think. And a lot of the times finding that more steady, dependable property in a decent area, maybe you have to do a little more work to get the cash flow through a creative strategy like short-term rental, medium-term rental, co-living, and you've been conservative with your estimates, you're still going to get great cash flow. Maybe you have to put a little bit more down. I have an agent on my team here, Connor Olson. I remember I sold him his first duplex and then he became an agent a few years later. Been an agent on our team here for years now. But at the time he put 15% down on this duplex. And I remember thinking to myself, why would you do that? You could put 3.5% or 5% down on this duplex. But what Connor knew and what he's learned over and over now is because he put more money down on that duplex, he gets phenomenal cash flow. So yes, the percentage return might not be as high, but the cash flow is great. And I think a lot of times we get caught up in chasing returns and we forget that a lot of the times we're doing this for cash flow. We're not doing it for a percentage on a spreadsheet. So if you're chasing cash flow, maybe put a little more down. That's okay. You're trying to get cash flow. You're trying to get financial freedom. And when you do that, and you can almost guarantee you're going to get more cash flow because your mortgage payment's lower, and you've been conservative with your underwriting and your assumptions, things are going to be a much better scenario than I was just chasing that percentage higher return. I'm not okay with 7 or 8%. I wanted 10%, so I put low leverage on it. Then something bad happened, and your little bit of cash flow, even though it was a high percentage, is just completely wiped out. See that happen a lot. I've done that a lot myself, and that's why I say that. So it's not always that you can't get cash flow. You can get cash flow. Just be realistic with what you're chasing. I've learned over a long time of investing. I've been investing since 2016, 2025, almost 10 years investing in real estate now. I've learned that when I'm chasing those really high numbers, those high percentage numbers, that they rarely work out to be true. I've also learned that when I'm looking at that dependable 7, 8, 9% return, when I've had to put a little bit of work into it, or when I've had to put a bigger down payment into it, that stuff is much more likely to happen. So truth about cash flow is it's not easy. Be weary of the high returns and be understanding you might have to put a little bit of work in. When you find something that isn't a phenomenal return, you might have to do a little bit of work. You got to put some money into it. The likelihood of that working out is going to be so much better than that super high return in that not so nice area, but this guy said it's great and that guy said it's great and blah, blah, blah. Turns out they both getting something off of telling you this. Always here to help talk about cash flow. Would love to talk with you about it. I know ways you can get it here in the Austin area too. Again, you're just going to have to be a little creative. You're going to have to do a little bit of work and you might have to put some money down.